I could have everybody's attention. We're going to start our media availability this afternoon with Matt Kenseth, driver of the number 17 Roush Fenway 25 winning years Ford. It's a long one. Fourth in points. You have one victory this season. You clinched a spot in the wild card for the chase. So talk a little bit about coming to Atlanta this weekend.
Well, I hope we don't slip all the way back to a wild card. It means we're going to have 2 more really bad weeks. But looking forward to racing here in Atlanta. I think as a racer, I think everybody really likes this track. And even as a fan, we used to watch these races or still go back and rewatch these races. I think it always puts on a really exciting race the way the asphalt's wore out and the banking's so high and you can move all over the racetrack and pace slows down and all that. So I'm anxious to get on the track and hopefully have a good weekend.
All right. I know we have lots of questions, so we'll go ahead and we'll start with Tom and then Ed.
Thanks, Matt. Tom Jensen, Speed.com. There's 5 1.5-mile tracks in the chase. How much is this weekend going to be a barometer for those tracks, or are they different enough that nothing transfers?
I think that, all the tracks I think are pretty unique. There's some that are more similar than others, but I think this one's certainly right now all by itself. I don't think there's another one. Maybe just a little bit Texas, because the pavement's a little bit older there and stuff. But or else I don't think you take a lot from here. That's going to help you at some of them other 1.5 miles.
Okay, go ahead, Ed.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Matt, you've always made yourself pretty clear on how much you worry about other people and other drivers. But I got to ask, with guys like you, I mean, you're pretty much set in this thing. But you see a guy who's got a lot of talent like Kyle Busch. Do you have any sympathy on anybody who's kind of hanging by a thread to make this hunt, or is it is what it is and that's his problem?
Sympathy?
Yeah, or can you kind of relate or feel for him?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been there. I think everybody's there, for different reasons or probably in different situations. I mean, the year we didn't make it, another year we barely slid in. I mean, it was all because our performance wasn't good enough. So I think in Kyle's case, his performance has been pretty good. They've had a lot of, mechanical problems, flat tires. He's had a lot of problems to keep him there. So I think he's got a good shot of getting in, and if he does, he's certainly going to be one of the guys you're going to have to try to beat.
Okay, we'll go to Marty.
Marty Smith, ESPN. I have a couple. First, have you spoken to Stewart since?
I have not yet. I tried to get up with him this morning and missed him, but I plan to try to talk to him.
Okay, this sport was basically thrust into the mainstream because of a fight in 1979 Daytona 500, right? Why do you think that raw emotion resonates so much with the fan base when you guys show that emotion?
I don't know. I mean, that stuff is always fun to watch. I mean, I hate being involved in it. I mean, I don't like that part of it, but I always like watching it. I love watching other people's conflicts. I mean, everybody does. It's human nature, So I think that the fans love the helmet toss. I thought that was cool too. Although I wish it wasn't being tossed at me because it meant that he was upset with me. So I don't like that part. But the rest of it, I mean, I think it's just human nature to like conflict and like controversy and action. And everybody wants to see good racing and competitive finish. But everybody. Whether people admit it or not, a lot of people like to see the wrecks and see guys go over the edge and see something like that happen. So I think that's been part of the sport for a lot of years, and in general, people like the action.
All right. Do you have additional questions for Matt? Okay, we'll go to Nate, and then we'll come back to Brian. Go here to Nate.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Matt, a follow-up to Marty's question first. It's not the first time you and Tony have kind of had a run-in on the track. Is there something about your styles that maybe just don't mesh? Not that you guys aren't respectful to each other, but just about the way your driving styles are that for whatever reason kind of lead you to the same places on the track?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you race long enough, you're probably going to have some type of disagreement with pretty much everybody on the track that you're competitive with, whether it's a very minor one or whether it's a major one that everybody notices, or maybe it's just something on a track that none of the media notices and you just take care of. I mean, I think that some of that stuff is natural. I think honestly, last week I was really surprised, and didn't really know where I wasn't trying to put our cars in a bad situation. Thought we were going to make it through there. Thought it was going to be all right. So, not sure what all went down there, but actually, I think Tony and I, in general, 99% of the time, probably at least, I think show each other probably more respect and more room on the track than probably most people have. I mean, there's been a couple instances here and there, but I think overall we try to show each other a lot of respect, and we usually get that back.
And if I can just ask you what you were saying earlier about Atlanta, the fact that this place is worn out and hasn't been paved for 15 years, does that stand out more now, given that there's so many tracks, especially this season, that seem to have been repaved, that this place is just more of its own unique animal?
Yeah, I mean, depending on how you look at it, unfortunately they've come so far with the stuff they use to make the blacktop on these racetracks that it doesn't wear out anymore, it doesn't get abrasive, and it lasts forever. And in my opinion, I don't think the racing is as good like that. Even Charlotte's been, how many years ago was that, 2006 or something, it's been paved, and it seems like it's been paved last year. When you go out there, it just doesn't wear out. Even Darlington, with all the sand floating around that place and stuff, hasn't wore out a bit. So I think tracks like this in Rockingham and Kansas before they paved it, Chicago right now, Texas, I think those places are more wore out. I think it puts on a better race because you can move around the racetrack. You got to manage your tires a little bit, where you really don't have to do that very much anymore. The way the sport is, you can usually run them pretty hard the way that they build the tires. Where here you still have to manage that a little bit and compromise your setup a little bit to be good in the beginning of a run, and try to be good at the end of the run as well.
All right. Go. Do you have a question?
Sure, I'll ask.
Okay.
Jeff Gluck from SBNation.com. As a competitor, I mean, you touched on this with Marty's question, but you said you kind of were entertained by the helmet throwing part of it. But I guess to what point, I'm sure you're aware everybody else is very entertained by it. When you're involved, to what point can you step back and say, like, that was funny or not funny, I guess? Or
I think, there's been a lot of times in my career where I've probably done dumb things or made people mad or whatever, and I think it's hard to laugh about that because I don't like having people mad at me, and I don't like being mad at other people, and you don't like wrecking race cars, whether they're yours or somebody else's. You never enjoy any of that, but there's certainly been, I think, when you can get it worked out with that person, when you actually both, either whether you agree to disagree or you end up agreeing or kind of see each other's point of view a little bit, I think maybe you can get past that and laugh about it or talk about it a little bit, hopefully. So there's been times like that where you've had, I feel like I've had wars with people for a long time, and when we got all done with it, kind of decided that we were both probably not being that smart. So best thing to do is try to get it in your rearview mirrors as quick as you can. Try to get whatever problem you may have with somebody or they have with you, try to get that resolved, and move on and go racing. You don't want to focus on being mad at somebody or somebody and being mad at you or any of that kind of stuff, or if you are, you're taking focus away from your goal of trying to win races and try to race for a championship.
All right, go ahead, Brian.
Matt, Brian Nelson, MRN. How well prepared or how well positioned do you think your team is now heading into the chase to go out and win that championship? And where do you see as the opportunities to really make your strikes in the next 10, 11 races?
I feel like overall, if I go back 6 or 7 weeks, I'd say we were pretty well prepared as far as, what cars we had, how good we felt about those cars, our confidence level, our finishes, our pit stops, all that stuff. I'd say today, I don't want to say we're beaten down by any means, but we've, had got the car at Indy wrecked. Our Pocono car was our best car. We were planning on using a lot in the chase and got that one wrecked. Going for the lead there at the end, thought we had a good shot at trying to win that race. Got that one wrecked. And that car at Bristol was our Dover car and another good car we're going to try using in chase, and got that one wrecked. So just getting us behind, because I'm driving them, getting behind on cars, I think has hurt us a little bit. Certainly the last 4 out of 5 weeks have been, in my mind, disasters and had bad finishes and wrecks and all that. So certainly I think that takes some momentum away and some wind out of your sails, and I feel like there's a little bit of a urgency to get a couple good finishes here before we get to Chicago.
All right, we have time for one more question. Any additional questions for Matt? All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.